COVID-19, the City Council meetings have restricted space for the public. This space now includes the lobby area where there is a monitor broadcasting the live meeting. All attendees are expected to have appropriate decorum, whether you're in the council chambers or lobby. I have 2 different face masks here, but you won't be able to hear me. We've tried that. So, with that, I will call the public hearing to order at this time. And we're going to, the City of Belton, Missouri will hold a public hearing to receive comments on the petition establishing the Southview Commerce Community Improvement District. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes to ensure everyone may be heard. And there will be no intercommunication between any individual making a comment and the City Council, so that we may ensure everyone is heard this evening. We'll have a chance to answer any kind of questions. So we have anyone here to make comments this evening on the Southview Commerce Center Community Improvement District? I need your name, your address, what kind of car you drive. No. Anybody. We'll take a pause. I'll take a drink. Anybody here to speak to the Southview Commerce Center Community Improvement District? I'm taking my time to be patient. Okay. Anybody in the lobby wanting to come in here? Wow, okay. With that, I guess we would be willing to go ahead and close the public hearing at this time, or adjourn the public hearing. And now, with that, we're going to open the agenda for Belton City Council, June 23rd, 2020. Pledge of Allegiance will be led by Councilman Savage.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Amen. Okay. I've got to adjust here. Roll call, please.
Mayor Davis.
Here.
Councilmember Savage.
Here.
Councilmember Lathrop.
Here.
Councilmember Trutzel.
Here.
Councilmember Van Winkle.
Here.
Councilmember Clark. Councilmember Finn.
Here.
Councilmember Davidson.
Here.
Councilmember Peak.
Here.
Okay, consent agenda. One motion, non-debatable, to approve the recommendations noted. Any member of the council may ask for an item to be taken from the consent agenda for discussion and separate action.
Present.
Second.
Motion and second. Discussion. Seeing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion passes. Personal appearances. I've had none. Has any came in, Andrea, that I've missed somewhere? Okay. Ordinances. A motion approving the final reading of bill number 2020-30.
An ordinance approving an amendment to the city's zoning map from C2 General Commercial District to R3A Planned Unit Development District for 11.64 acres of the parcel located on the south side of 163rd Street, midway between Markey Parkway and Given Avenue, Belton, Cass County, Missouri.
Present. Second.
Motion and second. Discussion. Seeing none, may we have the roll call?
Mayor Davis.
Aye.
Councilmember Savage.
Aye.
Davidson.
Aye.
Trutzel.
Aye.
Van Winkle.
Aye.
Lathrop.
Aye.
Finn.
Aye.
Peak.
Aye.
That motion passes. Making sure I'm on the right one here. Okay, B, a motion approving the final reading of bill number 2020-28.
An ordinance approving a plan for a commercial project and a development and performance agreement between the City of Belton, Missouri and North Point Development, LLC, and authorizing certain agreements and other actions by the city.
Present.
Second. Motion and a second. Discussion. Councilwoman Davidson.
Yes, I received some questions from a resident today that lives in the subdivision behind this proposal. And so I just kind of wanted to read through the questions and give the city an opportunity to respond. So I guess I'll just go question by question and then we can talk about the response to each. But number one, is North Point purchasing the entire plot of land? If so, what is the plan for the remaining unused acreage leading up to Given?
Councilwoman Davidson, thank you so much for your questions this evening. In answer to that, no, they are not purchasing the entire plot. The plan, they are only purchasing 11.64 acres of the 20-acre parcel. Hales, who owns that property, will retain ownership of the remaining unpurchased land, and it will also retain its C2 zone.
Thank you. Can we guarantee residents no future street cutting through to Given?
In all actuality, we cannot guarantee it. Currently, there's already an existing curb cut that's right across the street from Arvest Bank for future development of that corner lot.
Would it be, so these are kind of related, but this particular resident was very concerned about cut-through traffic through that subdivision, speed through the subdivision. Also mentioned that the stop sign there is regularly run. So she also asked, would it be possible to install speed bumps on Given to reduce speed of cut-through traffic? Because as you can imagine, with an apartment going there, they're anticipating even more traffic, and so this is a huge concern for her.
Right. In this situation, I understand that, but that becomes more of a enforcement issue, and it's very difficult as well to maintain the streets when you put speed bumps in. You know, when for snow removal, your blades are set at a certain height. It's not exactly easy to then raise that blade back up to be able to clear those areas. And so in a situation like that, if people are concerned about that, what we would ask is to report that, which we've now heard about, and report it to law enforcement and ask Belton PD to look into the concerns in that area for more enforcement. Chief, do you have anything else you would add to that? Here you go. The wandering mic.
The wandering mic. The city generally follows, through engineering, the manual on uniform traffic control devices. Speed bumps are not recommended or recognized as appropriate for speed enforcement within residential neighborhoods. If they are used, it's generally on private development in parking lots, but they are not approved for installation through the manual on uniform traffic control devices. It's recommended that enforcement be the tool that's used, and quite honestly, even when we put the police officers out there for enforcement in those particular areas, they historically end up catching people that live within the neighborhood and not those that are cutting through. So.
I wonder then if this might be a dumb idea, I don't know, but if there are any other measures we can take. I've seen in some areas where cities will put the flashing lights on the stop sign, the blinking, like the red blinking lights, just so that you know, it catches your attention, you know that you have to stop in case you were going to run it. I don't know if there's any smaller measure like that we can take there that might give residents some comfort. The next question is, can North Point guarantee that these apartments will not be Section 8 or low-income housing?
I can ask North Point to answer that, but I will also tell you that there is a provision within our development agreement with them that states that these apartments will be maintained as presented during the life of the agreement, which is luxury quality apartments.
And that is correct. We do not plan on any of these being Section 8 housing. There's a lot of paperwork and compliance that goes along with that. That's just not what we do as far as what we manage and what we build.
So in the event that this complex is sold, let's just say, would the new owner be under those same provisions?
Yes,
Believe-
yes, ma'am, that is correct. If there was a successor in interest, whether by purchase or otherwise, that they'll be bound by the same terms in the development agreement.
Okay.
And there's two different sections that requires it to be built, operated, and maintained as a Class A luxury apartment complex. So the successors would be bound to the same terms.
Thank you. Will this complex have its own branding and name, or will it be known as North Point? Do we know that?
It will have its own name. Once we get further along, we have a team that kind of makes some suggestions as far as naming, and we work with the city as well to name the complex as well.
Thank you. I guess I would just add that over the last week, I've received a number of emails from residents specific to that subdivision. And I know a lot of us have received the same email, so I'll keep it brief. But I think the general consensus was that to them, this felt rushed. And, you know, I can see how that would be. So I just would caution us going forward that, you know, maybe we take more care and go above and beyond to make sure that, you know, maybe not just residents within 185 feet or 200 feet like we did in this circumstance are notified, but, you know, if it affects an entire subdivision, I think there are 87 homes back there that maybe the entire subdivision is made aware, since they're really the only single-family housing in that area. So I just wanted to relay those thoughts to the council and public. Thank you.
Thank you. Other questions?
Oh, sorry. Sorry, there's one more. Okay, scratch what I just said. So number 6, what city department will be responsible for the dog park upkeep and maintenance, and then what department is paying for the city's cost share portion?
North Point will maintain the dog park and the trails, and the city will maintain the drive and parking area. And those funds will come from the transportation department.
Thank you.
Questions? Seeing none.
Mayor Davis,
Aye.
Councilmember Peak,
Aye.
Davidson,
No.
Van Winkle,
Aye.
Savage,
Aye.
Lathrop,
Aye.
Ben,
Aye.
Trutzel.
Aye. That motion passes. C, motion approving both readings of Bill Number 2020-31.
Mayor, before I read this ordinance, it should be noted that there's a Scribner's error in the ordinance. All references to North Point Development LLC should read NP Southview Industrial LLC. There are no changes to the petition or the agreement, though. An ordinance approving the petition for and establishing the Southview Commerce Center Community Improvement District and approving a cooperative agreement among the City of Belton, Missouri, the Southview Commerce Center Community Improvement District, and NP Southview Industrial LLC.
Present.
Second.
Motion and second. Discussion. Councilwoman Davidson.
I do think it would be nice if somebody from the city could kind of give an overview of this ordinance, if that's possible.
Who would we like?
Sid Douglas will be speaking to this item tonight, Mayor.
Sid Douglas with Gilmore and Bell, Bond and Economic Development Council to the city. What is proposed in this ordinance is to approve a petition that's been submitted to the city for the formation of a community improvement district. It is a separate political subdivision, will have its own board of directors that will govern its operations. It will be monitored and will have to report its activities to the city on an annual basis for approval of budgets and financial status of the community improvement district. The community improvement district is being formed to undertake projects within the Southview Commerce Center. The boundaries of the community improvement district will coincide with that development. so that it will include or cover that entire development. The projects are all public improvements that relate to either road construction, sanitary, water main, storm sewer type projects, or some trails and other streetscape and other type of improvements. The CID will also be able to fund certain services that are provided for the benefit of the businesses that are out there in that district. The source of the funds for making these improvements is going to be authorized or expected to be authorized pursuant to a sales tax. It'll be voted in the amount of 1%. It is expected to be only imposed in the amount of 0.5% for purposes of funding these improvements. The projects that will be undertaken will be fronted, or the cost of those will be fronted by North Point as part of their development of the Southview Commerce Center, and will be reimbursed from those sales tax revenues as they're generated from the e-commerce businesses that will be located within the CID boundaries.
You need more?
I'm thinking.
Okay. I need a little pause here too, anyway. Let me ask if somebody else has one, and we'll come back to you. Did you have one?
Sure, I'll buy it a little bit. Because it's been explained, but I'm gonna get it explained again. It's to pay for the build, it's also to pay for the maintenance over the 20 years, is that correct? Is it 20 years?
The CID will be formed for a term of 40 years.
40 years?
And the sales taxes will be used primarily up front to reimburse the developer for the public improvement costs that are being constructed there. After that, the additional revenues that would remain would be used to help fund any maintenance for those improvements or other public improvements that are in the area that need to be taken care of.
Yes, I know it's been asked, but what if there's an overabundance of funds? How does that function, so we all know that, to maintain?
There's a couple of things that could be done. Obviously, just like the city, if you have a sales tax and you had more money and you know what to spend, I don't think you've ever been in that situation.
Not here.
But the board of directors could pass a resolution to decrease the amount of sales tax imposition that's being collected. So instead of 0.5%, they could go to anything that's in an increment of 1/8, so they go to 3/8 or 1/4, or even down to 1/8. The other thing is if the city and the CID conclude that all the improvements have been funded and there's no reason to continue the collection of the sales tax, that the sales tax could be terminated and the CID could be unwound.
I think the main point is that there's not an overabundance of cash remaining. What happens, it pays for what happens. It cannot go anywhere else.
Right. All the improvements that would be funded have to be located within the boundaries of the CID, so.
And has to be spent on that subject.
Yes, sir, that is correct.
Yeah, that's the point, which has been told. I just want it told again. Thank you.
Other questions? Councilwoman Davidson?
And the fund can only be spent on public infrastructure, is that right?
That's correct. In certain circumstances, a community improvement district could help pay for costs for demolition, renovation, or of existing structures or improvements to existing structures. But in this case, that's only available if there's a blight finding, and we've not made a blight finding. So the things that could be funded would only be public improvements.
Yes, go ahead.
Is there an expiration for a CID?
By statute, there isn't any legal requirement. You're supposed to state an expiration date. This petition is set up for 40 years as the max term. If you want to extend that for whatever reason, we'd have to go through the same process that we're doing tonight to extend that term.
And what happens if the voting members don't agree on a reduction? in the sales tax amount, sales tax percentage, I mean.
Well, the board is being set up so that there's a 5-member board of directors, so it would be impossible to get to a circumstance where they can't come to some kind of agreement. There's gonna be 3 people voting, one way or another, so, and of those 5 members, 4 will be appointed by, or will be representatives of the city, and the developer will have 1 representative on the board. So it'd be difficult to find a circumstance where they couldn't come to an agreement. It'd be decided one way or another, so they couldn't get deadlocked. But if, the board decides that they view that there's projects that need to be funded, and want to continue to collect the sales tax, then the sales tax would continue on as originally authorized.
I have questions, but I'm not sure how much I can say regarding the project, the Building 3. I guess I can talk about, somebody tell me if I can't, just wave your arms, but the sales tax that is anticipated to be generated. Good?
Yeah. The tenant that is, that we're expecting to be located in the 3rd building out there, has represented to the representatives of the city, that they believe that there's gonna be a minimum of $80 million of sales that would be subject to Missouri sales tax collection. So the city's sales tax in the amount of 3.25%, in addition to the 0.5% for the CID, would all be imposed on whatever those sales would be. They said they're expected and been represented to the city that those would be at least $80 million. In addition, the tenant that's going into building number 2 also is an e-commerce type building, similar to the tenant that's expected to go into building 3. And so the sales tax would also be collected against those sales. We don't, at least I'm not aware of the magnitude of those sales that would be subject, and we've not got any representations, but anything that would be collected would be on top of that to help fund the public infrastructure in that area.
And so just to be clear, any Belton resident shopping with these 2 tenants would be subject to an additional 0.5% sales tax on their purchase.
Yes, that would be very similar to other CIDs and TDDs that the city has within its boundaries. That if they shop in particular areas, there are incrementally higher sales taxes depending upon where people would shop, and to the extent that people were purchasing goods from this e-commerce business and they're located in the state of Missouri, that they would be paying a 0.5 cent higher than they would if they were buying it somewhere else, a similar product from somewhere else in the city.
Thank you.
Councilman Savage.
Said it was, it's a little stronger than anticipated. That's part of the agreement, that the $80 million will be that much sales product in the state of Missouri as part of the agreement, is it not?
That's the way that the agreement has been drafted. It has not been presented to you all. It's in draft stage right now, but that's the way the development agreement would be drafted, is to the extent that they do not generate those sales and they do not create the number of jobs that they've represented, that their abatement would be reduced or eliminated.
We would be back talking about it, is what it amounts to, correct?
Yeah, it would be default under the agreement.
Yes, exactly.
You could unwind the whole thing if necessary.
I think that's the whole point. It is stronger than anticipated. It's part of the deal.
That is correct.
Yes, thank you.
So Sid, we'd consider that a clawback.
We consider that a clawback, and again, the agreement's not been signed, it's in the drafting stages, but those are the representations that have been made to us as part of the negotiations, and
Well,
It would be hard pressed in my mind to imagine circumstances where the city would not be able to avail themselves of those consequences.
yeah, well, that was what's been presented. It just wasn't exactly said that strongly tonight, and I wanted to hear that again. Thank you.
Councilman Trutzel.
It was mentioned to us earlier that they anticipated X amount of jobs, and then they increased it. So obviously, they must be pretty proactive in what they're thinking is going to happen. Isn't that right? There were two jobs. One was a lower number of jobs. Then there was a second number that was thrown out as like 2,100 thereabouts, whatever it was.
Yeah, we have an acknowledgement from them that they expect to create at least 1,600 jobs. I think some of the applications that they've got with the state that they've not represented 1,600. Carolyn will correct me if I'm wrong, but I think their long-term projections for this is that there would be significantly more jobs than the 1,600. But what they're saying up front is would be 1,600 is what they've told the city and signed a piece of paper to that effect.
Questions? Councilwoman Davidson.
I would just say one last thing, and that is that, North Point, well, the Southview Commerce Center was a big deal for the city, and we incentivized that project. I think rightfully so. I mean, it stands to bring quite a few jobs to our area, and I think that was a good decision. But for me personally, to add on additional incentives per building, or well, this is an incentive for the entire area, but to add on additional incentives, as we start to fill those buildings is not something I can get behind, but appreciate the jobs, and I appreciate the effort and everything you're doing.
Councilman Trutzel.
Take a few minutes here. For many years, I sat on negotiations for the teachers for the school district. There's a lot of data that comes out in those meetings that the general population does or does not know. And everybody has a certain parameter that they're working under. It's real easy to sit there and say, don't do this, don't do that, when you're not truly involved. But when you're looking eyeball to eyeball with somebody and know about that they're ready to say, I'm done, that's when you get a conference, a solution to the problem. So, it's easier on the outside, pardon me, it's easy on the outside to say, we shouldn't do this, we shouldn't do that. But if you're close enough to an agreement that says, I really don't want to, but I will do this because I know that you're at a point where you're saying, I'm done, I'm not going to do any more. So you read people as well as you do read paperwork. Thank you.
Carolyn.
I would just also like to make the point that with $80 million of sales, the majority of the sales in the state of Missouri are going to be from those outside of our city, and so the majority of revenues that go into the CID account, if you will, are going to be paid by those people who do not live in our city, and so I think that is a wonderful opportunity.
Councilman Savage.
I just have to say that when it's not, to me, I'm not seeing it as stretching and trying to get somewhere that we don't belong. I've seen the math, and it works. So I don't feel really backed in a corner here as far as trying to make that decision, because if your numbers work, what you said, the numbers work in this. So like I said, I never felt backed in a corner on it, which is kind of the feeling that I got with that last comment. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other? Seeing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Move for second reading.
Second.
Motion and a second for a second reading. And Discussion. Seeing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
No.
That's one. Now, probably a good time to say that I had a little spill here, that due to the compressed construction timeline of the tenant for Building 3 in the Southview Commerce Center, the first and second reading of this ordinance is a necessity. The proposed tenant is seeking to have their building constructed and open for business as soon as possible. As such, there are many steps that need to be still to occur. The Community Improvement District, SID, a defined area contained with the Southview Commerce Center, will be a separate political subdivision from the city. Therefore, upon the passing of the ordinance on tonight's agenda, there are other provisions to be fulfilled, such as an organizational meeting of the Board of Directors approved by the cooperative agreement, as well as calling and conducting an election to authorize the SID sales tax. So this is a necessity that we do this second reading. So with that, we've had discussion now, and we're going to vote on whether we're doing a second reading. All in favor?
We've already voted. We voted.
We've already voted, and so we're on the second read. So it goes, motion approved the second reading of bill number 2020-31.
An ordinance approving the petition for and establishing the Southview Commerce Center's Community Improvement District and approving a cooperative agreement among the City of Belton, Missouri, the Southview Commerce Center Community Improvement District, and NP Southview Industrial LLC.
Present.
Second.
Motion and second. Discussion. Seeing none, may we have the roll call?
Councilmember Savage,
Aye.
Lathrop,
Aye.
Davidson,
No.
Trutzel,
Aye.
Van Winkle,
Aye.
Finn,
Aye.
Mayor Davis,
Aye.
Councilmember Peak.
Aye.
That motion passes. D, a motion approving the first reading of bill number 2020-32.
An ordinance authorizing the taxable industrial revenue bonds, NP Industrial Building 3 LLC project, Series 2020, related to an industrial development project in the city, and authorizing the city to enter into certain agreements and take certain other actions.
Second.
Motion and second. Discussion. Okay. This ordinance will approve the bond documents to implement the tax abatement provided for the last property to be developed in the Southview Commerce Center, Building Number 3. This approval is similar to the two prior bond transactions for the first two buildings constructed in the Southview Commerce Center, as provided in the development agreement. And that was approved June of 2018. With North Point Development LLC, the bonds will be issued pursuant to the trust indenture referred to in the ordinance. A correspondence lease agreement will be executed between the city and North Point Southview Industrial 3 LLC, an affiliate of North Point and Northwestern Mutual that is undertaking the construction project. We have a motion and a second. Discussion. Seeing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
That motion passes. E, a motion approving the first reading of bill number 2020-33.
An ordinance approving an amendment to the city's zoning map from A Agricultural District to R1 Single Family Residential District for an 8.73 acre site located on the north side of Cambridge Road, approximately 236 feet east of Mullen Road, Belton, Cass County, Missouri.
Present.
Second.
Motion and a second. Discussion. Seeing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion passes. Sir.
The applicant, Chris Horton, is present this evening. I think he would like to ask the council's consideration of proceeding with the second reading.
Okay. I'm entertaining a motion for second.
Make a motion.
Second.
Motion and a second. Did you get those? Second. Okay. Discussion. Seeing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion passes. Okay, E, a motion approving the second reading of Bill Number 2020-33.
An ordinance approving an amendment to the city's zoning map from A Agricultural District to R1 Single Family Residential District for an 8.73 acre site located on the north side of Cambridge Road, approximately 236 feet east of Mullen Road, Belton, Cass County, Missouri.
Second.
Motion and second. Discussion. Seeing none.
Councilmember Lathrop,
Aye.
Councilmember Savage,
Aye.
Councilmember Trutzel,
Aye.
Davidson,
Aye.
Van Winkle,
Aye.
Finn,
Aye.
Peak,
Aye.
Mayor Davis.
Aye. That motion passes. Fogging up here. Resolutions. Do we have any resolutions this evening?
Mayor, you still have one item under
Sorry, I'm on the
item
same-
F.
I'm on the same farm, aren't I?
Yes. F.
I saw the name and I thought I'd already done that. Okay, F, a motion approving this first reading of Bill Number 2020-34.
An ordinance approving the final plat for Wharton Farms, an existing subdivision on the north side of Cambridge Road, east of Mullen Road, in the city of Belton, Cass County, Missouri, and authorizing the mayor and city clerk to sign the plat for recording with the Cass County Recorder's Office.
Second.
Motion is second. Discussion. Seeing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion passes.
Move for second reading.
Second.
Motion and a second for a second reading. Discussion. Seeing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion passes. F, a motion approving the second reading of Bill Number 2020-34.
An ordinance approving the final plat for Wharton Farms, an existing subdivision on the north side of Cambridge Road, east of Mullen Road, in the city of Belton, Cass County, Missouri, and authorizing the mayor and city clerk to sign the plat for recording with the Cass County Recorder's Office.
Present.
Motion and second. Discussion. Seeing none.
Councilmember Savage,
Aye.
Councilmember Lathrop,
Aye.
Davidson,
Aye.
Trutzel,
Aye.
Van Winkle,
Aye.
Finn,
Aye.
Mayor Davis,
Aye.
Councilmember Peak.
Aye.
Motion passes. Back to resolutions. Do we have any this evening?
No resolutions, Mayor.
How about City Council Park? Councilwoman Davidson.
Yeah. Our kids' paint party is back. If your kiddo has an artistic side and is looking for fun and creativity, give us a call to sign up, 816-348-7400. Just $20 for snacks, all supplies, instructions, and they clean up. Must pre-register before the date, which is 7/24, and it runs 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. Registration is now open for all recreation fall leagues, including volleyball, NFL flag football, soccer, baseball, and softball. Fees vary based on age and league. And if you're looking for some extra hours and you like working in a fun environment, High Blue is hiring. They have positions available in Kids Corner and also as a custodian. You can apply online at beltonparks.org/jobs or at High Blue in person. They'd love to have you on their team. You can purchase your season passes now for priority access to the outdoor water park. Season passes are on sale at the High Blue Wellness Center for Belton, Raymore, and Peculiar residents only. You must show proof of residency with a photo ID. Theater in the Park begins August 14th. And then just a reminder that August 21st through 22nd is the Hy-Vee Summerfest featuring fireworks Saturday night. The Jones & Company family-friendly carnival, food trucks, Miss Belton contest, local performers, Brewbaker's Beer Garden, crafters, vendors, and a free concert. Free concert starting at 6:30 on both Friday and Saturday. You can email mferrari, Ferrari at beltonparks.org to be a part of the event, or vendors, whatever you want. That's it.
That's all?
Well,
Normally,
they didn't have anything going on at the parks this weekend. So.
oh golly, it's crazy there. The ball tournaments, everything. It's a pretty active place. Well, we're excited about what they've done. Do we have any other liaison reports today? Anybody? Okay, Mayor's communication. I'll be brief, but I was talking to the fire folks today, that would have been yesterday, was watching them do the training out to Cleveland Lake. It was pretty neat, and I was thinking, I don't know that that'd be a lot of fun. I don't know that it's tough, and being running the Belton pool years and years ago, decades ago, that saving people in water is a difficult circumstance. And we really am glad that they're doing the training. It's really great to see them out there. They did that all week and done a great job. Mayor's communication, I would also say that we have to be safe with the 4th of July. A lot of people's not real happy about their pets and everything else. They get loose. And we've got to be considerate of people that have to sleep sometime, and they get woke up, and it's tough. It's really tough. We've been blessed that we still have the 4th of July. Some would say they disagree, but we have to be fair. We've got to be good and treat each other better as much as we can. I know I don't ever leave home on the 4th of July. City Manager's report.
Thank you, Mayor. This evening, we only have one department presentation and discussion item. That is from Chief Sapp to talk about a topic you just introed, Mayor. Thank you.
Wow.
Yeah, so just to cap that a little bit and remind everybody of the restrictions or the rules within Belton. Fireworks sales within the city of Belton will start this Sunday, the 28th at 8 a.m. Sales will be able to go daily from the 28th through July 4th. That can be from 8 till midnight is the sales. As far as what people can shoot off in town, in theory, anything you can buy in a tent within the city limits of Belton should be legal, but from time to time we have had people bring in things that weren't. No bottle rockets, no Roman candles, no skyrockets. So basically anything on a stick that goes into the air wouldn't be acceptable. And then another addition that got added within the last couple of years are the big sky lanterns that they inflate with the fire inside of them and let them go. So all those would be prohibited. However, they're very easily obtained out in the county. So that generally turns into Chief Person's problem after that, because they do most of that patrol, and I'm sure that officers really don't like this time frame. As far as shooting off fireworks, they can do that daily from 10 a.m. until 10 p.m. with two exceptions. On Sundays, they're restricted until noon, and then on 4th of July, they're able to shoot them off through midnight. So, any questions?
Councilman, anybody? Councilwomen?
Councilman Lathrop?
When do they start being able to shoot them? And when is the last?
This Sunday, June 28th at 10 o'clock.
Because I've already had some at my place.
Yeah, that's a constant problem. Like I say, I've heard them go out on a few calls already, and both timing beforehand and then timing at night. There's lots of complaints after 10 o'clock. So.
Well, this was right after sun went down, but around 9:30. But
Yep, technically.
couple nights in a row. There's only been one or two, so it wasn't real bad.
It's not just in Belton. They're actually a national story that was on the news, that it's nationwide, and they're saying that, of course, right now everything gets blamed on COVID-19, but they said that because people have been inside for so long, that fireworks are now a great outlet. They are beginning to shoot them off earlier, and that already sales are up over 15% just within the companies that sell within Missouri. So I think we will probably see an additional number of fireworks shot this year.
Councilman Finn. Go ahead.
This one's for the chief. If you should have a problem, what do you recommend our constituents do if they have excessive fireworks or past curfew, if you will?
There will be excessive fireworks, and they will be shot off after curfew.
What would you like someone to do? What's the recourse on this? I don't want to overload your department, but again, giving someone an outlet to be able to have some...
They can call. Citizens are encouraged to call at the time of occurrence, and we will send officers out. If they observe it, they can issue a summons if the folks are willing to also be witnesses to that incident. They can also give warnings. even if they don't, if they go out and there are folks around and there's evidence that there has been fireworks, but they don't actually observe it, they can give warnings. If the caller is willing to sign a complaint, they can issue a summons to the folks that may be violating it, and they can also give a witness summons then to the person making the complaint so that they can appear in court if necessary.
Awesome, thank you. I have one other question too for the staff, and I'd love to hear that the sales are at 15%. Do we collect taxes on these fireworks that are sold within the city of Belton?
I didn't think we did because they're not for profit.
All right, so there's no taxes collected on any of that?
That's correct.
Thank you.
Any other questions for anybody? Who? Council Moon?
Just a comment. I will say 2 years ago, I went on a ride along with the fire department on 4th of July. I specifically chose that date because I thought I might get to see some action. And it was pretty interesting if anybody has free time, but I did get to see quite a large house fire where a firework had been shot into a minivan and then caught the house on fire. So if you're looking for something to do,
We kept you busy that night.
I remember that one.
We'll also put information up. We'll have something on Facebook and the city's website before this weekend that kind of reminds and has a place for people to go and see exactly what the guidelines are.
Anything else on that?
No other comments, Mayor.
Okay, other business. I will bring up one real quick, Chief. COVID, anything that you want to tell everybody how we're doing and how the trend is? And
The number of, there we go. The number of cases in Missouri rose dramatically over the weekend. The number of cases across the country rose dramatically. The official line on that is because of the additional testing. They are now discovering additional folks. The governor says that the hospitals are still not overloaded and that the majority of those tests that are positive are actually not symptomatic, and that most of those are just being quarantined at home, and that they are having very little effect. That being said, the numbers are rising. The numbers in one particular county, McDonald County, increased by 213. I think the state increased, the one-day largest increase was 420 or so, and about half of those were actually in McDonald County, the majority of those associated with a chicken processing plant. So the problems that we see are when we develop these hot spots, particularly places where folks work in very close proximity to each other. And originally we were seeing those in long-term care facilities and nursing homes, because they were working in such close proximity and they are dealing with a very vulnerable population. Now we're also seeing those in very large workforce areas because they're working in very close proximity to each other. So knock on wood, we've been fairly lucky in Cass County. We have had a couple of what they determined were hot spots, but nothing to the magnitude that we've seen in some other places. As of this evening, Mary, you were on the same call I was. I believe, didn't they say we're at 116 confirmed cases since March, 117 confirmed cases since March in Cass County, and we remain at 8 deaths.
And we had one more today, so I can't remember if it was.
One more today, not from Belton. So.
Right. And it's interesting, I wish they'd break that data down where you know how many for each city.
We do get that information, but it's strictly for use for the first responders.
Right.
So that we know when our folks are going into an area, whether or not it's someone that is quarantined or not. So the information just cannot be released publicly.
Right.
It's not our data to release, and we are sworn to confidentiality in order to get that. But
Well, I'm
but we do
comparing
know that the numbers and how many from each community.
Right, and I like to compare and contrast so I can figure out on my map where I see that, and it's interesting how, and the thing that,
Even though we are the largest populated city, we are not.
no,
We have not had the largest number of cases within the county. That's the reason we can say that we have not had the particular hotspots. That could change overnight if there's someone that becomes ill and they're in a work environment where they have contact with a lot of people, all of that could change.
And
And
so-
as we have opened up the county and the country, we've seen an increase in the number of cases.
so your advice to everybody is to,
My advice is when in public to socially distance. I put something out now a couple of months ago where in order to be safe, you need to have your safe zone. That safe zone is your home, your yard, and in most cases, your car. If you're outside of that, the recommendation is still to socially distance, and wearing a mask increases your safety over and above even the social distancing.
how can you stand talking and your glasses don't fog up like mine when you're doing, I mean, I pinch my nose too, and it just makes me crazy.
It does at times.
does.
It does fog.
Okay, any other
As soon as
business?
I'm out of this building, I will have the mask off. So.
Anybody else got any other business? Seeing none, I'd entertain.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion and a second, any discussion? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Voice vote because there's no closed.
Voice vote. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's closed. Thank you.